Hello everyone and welcome to another video about self-driving cars and the social nature of traffic. I'm Eric Winkhuizen. I used to work in the self-driving car industry as a social scientist, and it was while there that I became convinced that self-driving cars simply cannot be safe. When I worked at Nissan and pointed out that autonomous vehicles are not safe because they just don't drive like humans, a colleague asked why I thought there couldn't just be a different kind of driver. My answer is that traffic is social and critically depends on shared practices of seeing, reasoning, and acting. That is, when we move around in public places, we trust that others see the same things in the environment, understand the situation the same way, and trust that they will act in a way that keeps everybody safe. But self-driving cars don't see or understand the world the same way, nor make decisions the same way as people. And that is why they're not safe. In this YouTube channel, I contrast the way humans drive from the way self-driving cars drive in the hope of bringing some common sense back to the hype about self-driving cars. In previous videos, I addressed self-driving car perception and the self-driving car's sense of time. I will put a link to these in the description below. In today's podcast, I will address a rather obvious but often ignored aspect of self-driving cars, namely their lack of judgment. Let me start by playing you some clips from recent YouTube videos posted by FSD beta testers. First up is Omar from Omar's Catalog, and he drives in San Francisco.
Someone getting out of their car, FSD automatically offsets. Very good. Okay, offsetting a little to the right as there's motorcyclists passing by without a center divider. Very good. Interesting. What is it doing? It looks like it wanted to change lanes or something, but then saw that the cars were parked there. I don't know. That was definitely a weird maneuver it did there. Okay, we got a green light. Moving very slowly.
Second up is Chuck Cook, who always tests every new version of FSD on a very challenging, unprotected left turn with, let's say, mixed results. He drives in Florida.
And look at this. The first scenario has got a van, a trailer, and a truck. And let's see how it does here. Good interaction there. The truck is there. A very small gap here. It needs to wait. Good. Nice wait there. It's clear to the right. Oh, is it going to go for that? If it goes, it needs to go. Commit. Roll. All the way through. And to the middle lane. Okay. No cross traffic this time. There's our good stop. Complete stop. Creep limit. Median network projection. All right. Needs to stop. Don't go. Don't go. Don't go. Gosh. Ooh. All right, it went all the way to its creep limit, it looks like, and I'm fine. It's not too far out. It's, whoa, 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 whoa. What are you doing? It cannot go anymore. Matter of fact, I think I'm in the road a little bit, and this truck is coming. Okay, disengaged there. I'm actually going, yeah, he had to go around me a little bit. That jump there was unacceptable at that location.
Third up is Chris from Dirty Tesla, who tests FSD around and sometimes in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
If you want me, oh, we're scared of this. Okay, keep going, it's okay. So just being cautious, I don't know, I don't mind that. We got closed road signs all over the place, so like this, like say at a stop sign or something with cars really backed up, it would actually try to go around them, which was so funny, even though like you weren't supposed to. Like here, we definitely should be going around this car to the left, or this machinery. There you go. That's all right. You got to drive on the yellow a little bit. I understand the timidness. I'm so far, besides the first weird break into the left turn lane, I'm happy with the way it's driving. Waiting for this pedestrian, very good. Immediately sees them, stays slow until they're well out of the way, and then accelerates. So it wants to turn left here, and we're not allowed. So let's see what the car does. So it's looking to get in that left turn lane, and there, it just gave up. And now it wants to turn right. Yeah, it's definitely confused by this. Oh, it has to turn right, basically. We can't turn left. Oh, don't do it. Don't turn left. Don't you do it. Oh, don't do it. No. Oh, it's all closed over there. All right, I have to take over.
So what all these instances of driving with the Tesla FSD make clear is that Omar, Chuck, and Chris are continually assessing and morally judging the driver of FSD. Whether they think FSD is driving very well, or driving cautiously, by which they mean too slowly, or aggressively, by which they mean almost unacceptably, or indeed dangerously, the thing they are doing on an ongoing basis is assess how the car is driving. And they are not just doing this for their own cars driving, by the way. They judge how other cars and people drive as well.
I'm sure they can fix it. It didn't used to. Why are you turning with me? It's my turn. I have a green. Okay.
What the hell? People aren't paying attention.
Making moral judgment about their own cars and other people's behavior is what they do. And they are not extraordinary. We all do this. We look at the world of traffic through some moral lens. It is just that in their case it includes the car they are seated in themselves. And of course this is not some idle exercise. They don't just do this for the entertainment of their YouTube audience. Oh no, their moral judgment can be very consequential, as we saw when it causes them to take over control from FSD when they judge it to drive dangerously. One last important thing about judgment. For the most part, these judgments are not just their own individual opinions. While you may have some quibbles with some of their decisions, mostly we would agree. Whenever you see beta testers take over, anybody would take over.
It's coming.
Albeit that sometimes they could have taken over a little sooner. So these judgments are shared. You could say they are cultural judgments. We have a shared morality when it comes to driving. And that shared morality is very helpful. We appeal to it when we honk at others that are driving inappropriately, because we know they will understand what it is that they are doing that warrants a honk. To sum up, it is hard to overstate how central it is to human driving to continuously monitor the situation at hand using moral judgment. We count on everybody to do this. But moral judgment is completely absent in self-driving cars. Self-driving cars cannot judge a traffic situation. Self-driving cars instead just execute the program that was uploaded into their computer. They do whatever the program says they should do, without any moral judgment whatsoever. Now you might argue that by driving, by slowing down for instance, the self-driving car is in a way judging the situation and making a decision. But that is not how it works. When Chris says that the car is being cautious, it may seem cautious to him, but the car is not driving with a heightened sense of concern or some sense of caution. No, for whatever reason, the program is just telling the car to drive slowly. Indeed, slowly for no reason. But that is precisely the kind of judgment the car can't make. A self-driving car does not make any moral decisions, it just executes its program. That is why when an autonomous vehicle causes an accident, we don't blame the software as if it was somehow responsible and had made a bad decision. No, at best, we blame the company that hired the engineers that created the software. This is not just the case for autonomous vehicles, by the way. No AI can make moral judgments. Take ChatGPT, for instance. There is enormous hype because it can produce rather amazing text. But when you start it up, it says, while we have safeguards in place, the system may occasionally generate incorrect or misleading information and produce offensive or biased content. It is not intended to give advice. Large language models like ChatGPT have generated research papers that were totally made up, including made-up citations, citing articles that were never written by authors that don't exist. ChatGPT can't judge whether the text it generates is true or utter nonsense. It is a principled limitation. It won't be fixed in GPT 5, 6, or 7. And the same holds for self-driving cars. When they drive perfectly down the road, they have no idea they are driving perfectly. When they make terrible mistakes, they have no idea they are being unsafe. So it is the foundational and indeed radical assumption behind self-driving cars that in order for them to drive safely, they can do so entirely without moral judgment. Now, when I look at the many instances in which FSD beta testers take over from the software, such as these.
Okay, that was very dangerous. I would wanted to have accelerated out, but you know, it did it. Sorry. Yep, I had to take over there. Did not look like we were stopping.
All right, so we're stopping way too far back. There we go, moving up a little bit. So this unprotected left, the ones I've seen have been, okay, no, that was terrible. Never mind. That was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. What are you thinking?
When I see that, I think, pretty useful skill, actually, to be able to judge whether your car is driving appropriately in the situation. Clearly that skill saves FSD's bacon quite frequently. Not sure I would want to go without that, or have other drivers on the road that can't do this. Moreover, there is a second related issue with self-driving cars that follows from the no need for moral judgment assumption. Let me explain. Since autonomous vehicles just execute the program that was uploaded in their computer, that means that if the upload was done yesterday, it will use yesterday's decisions for today's traffic situations. Because the system itself, of course, cannot judge whether yesterday's decisions are appropriate for today. In other words, the assumption behind self-driving cars is that one day in the future there will be no more new situations that will require a new decision or a new course of action to be set. Now that is at root an assumption about how the world works. And there are very good reasons to assume that the world does not work this way. The mistakes by robo-taxis in San Francisco after the decision by the California Public Utility Commission to open the city up to a fleet of robo-taxis are instances of this principled problem. Namely, that there will always be new situations that require new decisions. Decisions that consider the specific contingencies of a situation at the moment. Instead of just executing yesterday's decision for a situation that was somehow calculated to be similar to the current situation. This does not mean that in many situations simply executing yesterday's algorithm can be fine. Much driving does not really require any decisions. And so it is easy to be deluded into feeling confident about your self-driving car as it drives smoothly down the road. But inevitably, there will be times when new situations occur. And in those cases, the frightening thing is that there is no recourse. The car will simply go with yesterday's decision. It is no surprise that autonomous vehicles fail especially frequently when the car encounters an unusual situation such as an emergency. After all, when the police or fire department go out to an emergency, they won't know what they will find. Every emergency is unique. Here is a video from one such incident in which a Waymo has come upon an emergency situation. This incident took place in the Sunset District at the intersection of 21st Street and Noriega. Both firefighters and police have responded to a fire. I heard that someone's meth lab had blown up, but I'm not sure that's true. A Waymo self-driving car is approaching a charged fire hose, and a police officer has stepped in front of the robo-taxi to prevent the car from driving over the hose.
Hey, just stay there. I mean, hey, I'll pop a flare. Is that what they do? No, I'm gonna pop a flare so it doesn't move and run over the water line. Stand by. It censors objects, right? It censors objects right there in the.
I don't think this is a speed bump. I'll go right over it.
Yeah, it's gonna mess up the rescue. But if I pop a flare, what do you think? I'm curious.
Think it'll recognize that?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Leave hella smoke in the front. No, you stay. Oh. Out of 4 Adam. Got a bit of a pickle. I got an autonomous vehicle, the Waymo. It's inching slowly and closely to the one of the main water lines that the SF Fire just charged. Can't run it over. Is there a way you could contact like a responsible to come out and disable this vehicle? I don't trust this AI.
The trouble is that the Waymo robotaxi finds itself in a situation in which the normal traffic rules do not apply. It may have planned to go straight through the intersection, but with a fire hose on the road and all kinds of police activity, it should not continue. And indeed, it really should just get the hell out of there and let the first responders do their work. Apparently, it doesn't understand that this is an exceptional situation, however, nor that it ought to follow the policeman's instructions.
No, you stay.
Any human driver would, of course, recognize this immediately. What with the multiple police officers walking around in the intersection, an operational fire truck and charged fire hoses snaking across the intersection, and all emergency vehicles with flashing lights parked to block traffic. But if that visual information is not enough, a brief exchange with the police will make it clear. Just listen to this brief interaction between a pickup driver and the police.
No! No, go back!
And immediately the driver understands. Of course, they had already understood that this was an emergency situation. They just weren't sure if they maybe could go around the incident, but the instructions from the police make it very clear, so they turn around. Contrast that with the Waymo. It doesn't even understand that it is not supposed to drive over the flare that was specifically put in front of it to make that clear. Note how the policemen don't know what the Waymo understands about the situation, but they know that it doesn't understand the situation properly and that communicating with the robotaxi itself is futile. This is the problem with driving around in a world of abstractions, executing yesterday's rules for today's situations, without the benefit of moral judgment. I think that the reason you don't hear this story in the public discourse about self-driving cars is the continuous propaganda from the autonomous car industry to obfuscate their software's obvious limitations and to draw false analogies between the technology and human driving. Take the current hype around version 12 of Tesla FSD. Here Elon Musk explains some aspects of the system in his first ride with version 12 that he live tweeted a few days ago.
Entirely AI and cameras. Just like our brain works, which is neural nets and eyes. And we did not program in, there's no line of code that says slow down for speed bumps. So it is doing this based entirely on video training.
Musk's argument is that FSD 12 is analogous to humans because it is using exactly what people have, cameras and a large neural network. And he talks quite proudly about the fact that FSD 12 has eliminated hundreds of thousands of lines of engineer-written code in favor of just letting a machine learning algorithm adjust itself to examples from a large number of training videos of good driving. He has eliminated more human judgment. The fanboys are salivating. But it is an utterly false equivalency. Our eyes are not cameras, and a neural network in a computer program has little in common with 1 billion physical neurons or so in a human brain. There's not a single neuron in a computer, and just because you call a program a neural network hardly makes it equivalent to a human brain. More importantly, people aren't just eyes and a brain. We are also moral members of social society. And no matter how you program a computer, you cannot replicate that. That doesn't mean that FSD-12 can't drive quite well most of the time, of course.
Drove around them. A lovely day in California. The beautiful Stanford campus.
It just means that when it fails, it's just as lost as version 9, 10, or 11.
Like I said, this is a little slow because we're driving around in basically rush hour. Intervention. Sorry. Okay, so that's our first intervention.
Odd, right? That a neural network trained on thousands of hours of video recordings couldn't get that right. But why did Elon take over? Could Musk perhaps be using moral judgment? Could he possibly be judging that driving through a red light, when there are cars coming towards you that are turning left on a green, is dangerous? Yes, actually it would appear that way. And so Tesla continues to pursue autonomy by spending ungodly amounts of money on a technology that is forever doomed to struggle in new situations that it will not realize are new situations and require judgment. And we will see the robo-taxis by Cruise and Waymo in San Francisco falter in much the same way. Because the notion that driving could be done safely without judgment was ill-advised from the outset.